Let's do some clam shells. So this is an exercise performed lying down on your side. You can take a pillow, or I'm going to use a folded up blanket here to support my head and neck. All right. So set yourself up. When you get down onto your side, have your legs stacked and your knees bent. I like to put my hand on my hip to keep my hips from rocking. We want to try to keep our pelvis really, really still as you keep your feet together, but lift up that top knee. So your legs come apart kind of like a clamshell. Yeah. Go ahead and lower your knee back down. We're going to do a few more of those, lifting and lowering at a steady but pretty slow pace, trying to keep your pelvis stable. I like to aim for about 6 or 8. See if you can do 2 more. The next time that your knees are together, keep your knees together and lift up your foot instead. And then lower your foot back down. And we'll do that several more times. I like to lift up my foot and pause for just like a moment, a second or two, before lowering it back down again. And again, I'll try to get about 6 or 8 of this movement. All right. At this point, you might want to like massage or pound your hip a little bit. Next, we're going to straighten out that top leg and have your leg hovering over the ground here. Foot feels approximately parallel to the floor. And it might be hard to see what your foot is doing, but just sort of like feel it. Try to have your foot approximately parallel to the floor. And we're going to lift that leg straight up and then bring it back down to the starting position. Let's try that again. Yeah. Do that one more time. And then try a couple of those with your toes pointing up towards the ceiling. So your foot isn't parallel to the floor anymore. Now your toes are pointing towards the ceiling. And notice that feels like effort in a different part of the leg, huh? What if you did a couple with your toes pointing towards the floor, so you're kind of lifting up with your heel? Yeah. All right, when you're finished, go ahead and lower your leg down and lower it all the way down so that your foot is touching the floor. And you can lift that upper arm overhead so that maybe you touch the floor with your fingertips too, and have a couple breaths into the side of your body. All right, and then sweep your leg in front of you as you start to reach your arm behind you. Have a couple breaths here. Your arm might come onto the floor or might hover. Maybe it feels more comfortable to reach your arm more overhead towards the wall above your head here. Start to bring that leg behind you and reach your arm in front of you. So now we're kind of creating this diagonal shape, but in the other direction. All right, come back to that side stretch where your foot is reaching towards the bottom of the mat. Your fingers are on the floor above your head. And then bring your elbow and knee towards each other. Yeah, go ahead and reach out again. Bring your elbow and knee towards each other. Let's do that like 3 more times. All right. Now bring your elbow and knee together. Okay, reach your arm underneath your leg towards your ankle and bring that foot onto the floor in front of you. And you can keep holding on to your ankle for this, or you can let it go. Straighten out the bottom leg. Straighten out the bottom leg, and trying to keep that bottom leg straight, see if you can lift it off the floor a little bit. And then lower it back down. We're going to try to go for about 6 or 8 of these as well. See if you can do this movement without bending your knee. You might not lift your foot very high off the ground. It might be a really small movement. That's fine. Last one. All right. When you're finished, go ahead and stack your legs and bend your knees and have a little break. We're going to come on to the other side and do those exercises again. And if you're comfortable being on your back for a short period of time, you could roll onto your back and do a couple of like hip lifts here. And this is just another way of moving the hips and engaging the muscles of the pelvis. So when you do this, you want to reach your tailbone up between your thighs before you lift your hips up. Keep reaching that tailbone up as you lower your back down and then lower your pelvis down. And try that a couple more times. If you're not comfortable being on your back, you can skip this part. This is just extra. Nice way to massage and stretch out your low back and get a little more engagement in the back of your legs, since the clam shells are mostly focusing on the sides. Okay? Go ahead and meet me on the other side. However you get to the other side, I'm going to flip on my map so I can keep facing you. All right. When you're ready, legs stacked, knees bent, put your hand on your hip to help it from rocking around. We'll do the clam shells, feet together, knees apart. Yeah. See about getting 6 or 8 of those. Last one. The next time that your knees are together, lift your foot up instead and then lower it back down. Remember, I like to pause here at the top and just hold it for like a second or two before lowering back down. And we'll aim for 6 or 8 of those as well. When you're finished, you might take a little second to rub out your hip, give it a little massage. And then we'll move straight into those leg lifts. So straighten out that top leg, but leave it hovering. We're going to try to lift it straight up at first, and then straight down to that starting point, so it's still hovering. Yeah? Do that a couple times. And then try it with your toes pointed towards the ceiling. Yeah? And then try it with your toes pointed towards the floor. Ooh, when you're finished, go ahead and let your leg come all the way down to the floor. Reach that top arm up and over and see if you can tap the floor with your fingertips here and have a couple breaths into the side of your body. And then sweep your leg in front of you, right? And reach your arm either behind you or maybe you're reaching it over the head towards the wall behind your head here. We're just kind of opening up those shoulders a bit. Have a couple breaths. And then we'll reverse that shape by sweeping the leg behind, your arm out in front. Come back to that side stretch. We'll do a few of these elbow to knees. Go ahead and do one more of those. Right. Reach, stretch, and then bring your elbow to your knee. And we're going to stay like this. Reach your arm underneath your leg to try and grab your ankle here. Put your foot on the floor in front of you. Straighten out that bottom leg. We're just getting this top leg out of the way so you can straighten out the bottom leg and do a couple of leg lifts with the lower leg. So try to keep that knee straight as you lift your leg straight up off the floor and then lower it back down. Yeah, and we'll go for 6 or 8 of those as well. Yeah, try one more. And go ahead and rest. You can stack those legs, knees bent. Have a little moment. You might stay here for just a few breaths, or maybe you rest for 21 breaths. Take your time as you prepare to move into the rest of your day.